Welcome to American Blacksmith. I'm David MacDonald. Let's do shop tour part 1. We're going to start looking at the forging tools. We have a whole set of bolt header tools here, and that's to make heads on the top of bolts and tenons and that sort of thing. Squares, rounds, some rectangular ones. And then down here we have our standard swages that we put mostly in our anvils, some in our post vices. We have jigs for making rings, ovals. Here's our fuller swages, different thicknesses. And then these are the bottom small swages. And then down here we have the top handled swages. Series of scrolling jigs here that are made precise so that every one of them is correct, especially when you have other workers doing some of this type of bending, because you don't want them to have to do too many corrections. Over here we have some of our handheld drifts and punches for making eyelets in hammerheads. Some of the farrier tools, and we're over into the ball peen hammers, which are very important here, have many sizes. Some people ask me why I have so many hammers, and I say it's to correct all my mistakes. We have a series here of hot carving tools. This is where we do our animal heads and our decorative rivets, nails. And a lot of these carving tools here are actually very simple. There's not anything elaborate here. Eye punches and that we'll show you how to do in our carving session. Next we're going to go look at our treadle torch again here. This is what we used in our part 2 forging demonstration a couple weeks ago. Here's the treadle, pedal on the treadle. And then I'm going to show another type of torch stand, which is much simpler because you don't need a gas saver valve. Old Blacksmith from Cleveland, Ohio had invented this, and he ended up making me one of these. And I'll show you how this operates in another video. These are cutting tools, creasing tools. Got a set hammer here, and then we get into the cross peen hammers, which are very important here. Different widths and bigger. One of our post vices here. We've had to make all the stands in the shop for all the sway blocks and the vices because I've never seen them available commercially. And we have what the farriers use as a spring-loaded foot vise. We have several of these here in the shop, and what the farriers use them for is put a horseshoe in here and do your filing. But I use them also to put just the edge of a torch in here, and I'll show you how this all operates, but you can just get it out of the way. Like that. I just pitch it out the door. This is our treadle hammer here that I made this one in 1983, I believe. It's a spring-loaded assistant hammer, got 80 pounds of lead in the top of it. And I can put all of this series of tools underneath here and do intricate punching and slicing. Here's an example of a lamp that we make with the treadle hammer. And we need to do a lot of very intricate punching here. And it's all done hot, and you're twisting, and so, but this is done underneath the treadle hammer. This is our coke forge. We use industrial fuel in here instead of coal. Of course, we have a vent here for this forge, but ventilation is extremely important in the shop. That's why we have fans going most of the time, and then we have the doors open because the gas forges do not have vents over them. So in order to get that carbon monoxide out, we just push all the fumes out the door. Here we have a stake anvil here, big ball. This one was actually used to make helmets for the Army in World War I. This is one of the spring swages here that we can put an acorn on the end of a 1-inch round or square bar. It's got that groove in the middle of it there. Here we have our 150-pound self-contained power hammer. It's got a 2,200-pound anvil here. And we have an entire series of tools that we use underneath this. These are the dies that I like to use mostly in this hammer. A flat pair of dies with a hardy hole here that we can put all of our heavy duty bottom swages in. They have a handle on here so you can safely bring them in and out without it getting underneath your hammer. These are additional custom-made dies for the hammer, and we'll show you later in our power hammer series what we do with these. And then I have one of my favorite cutters here for cutting off hot metal. These are our tools and samples for our repoussé relevage area. Repoussé meaning to sink, relevage meaning to raise. Patterns of French leaf work. These pieces were done hot. The rest are all done cold on raising stakes. These are some of the hammers. We've got mallets all through here. A lot of these we use for the copper work as well. And then these are all the different types of planishing hammers, embossing hammers, raising hammers. These are samples of repoussé relevage work. It was done in France. This work is all done cold on the raising stakes. Very similar technique to doing armor. This is our knife section. We've got patterns of some of our standard blades here. We've probably got about 100 blades in process at any one time here. This is one of our step-by-step display boards on how we make a blacksmith knife, which has to be hand hammered out. We go from a piece of spring steel. These are all our processes. That way we don't have to reinvent the wheel every time we want to make something like this. This is my main variable speed knife grinder. And we have our standard Wilton grinder. Had this for many, many years. Okay, this is a knife that I forged with Bill Moran back in 1999. And he showed me how to do double tapered buoys. And I added a Monel style guard here with stag handle. In this area, we do all of our airbrushing for the various flowers and foliage that we make here. This is my little leather working bench here. This was an old antique local leather maker bench. Later on, we'll show you some of the battle axes that we make around here. Here's my MacDonald axe. Okay, thanks for watching our shop tour part 1. For our next forging video, we're going to demonstrate how to make a 4-bottle wine rack.